Hello, YouTube world again. Gordon Causey, aka Canuck, and I'm doing a quick video on the news in Ontario today, or yesterday rather. It's early right now. It's very early on Tuesday morning. Yesterday on Monday, that would be Monday, April 11th, news came out that Ontario's Chief Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Kieran Moore, was not going to be requiring or not going to be mandating that Ontarians have to wear masks in indoor public spaces. He did, however, strongly recommend that people wear masks indoors in public spaces, but he did not mandate it. Personally, given my knowledge of medical PPE, personal protective equipment, I've always viewed the mandates as being brain dead. And the reason is simply because medical PPE, you need the right type and you need to handle and wear it properly, and nobody does. When they're required, when masking was required, I think the date was March 21 and prior, you had to wear a mask. And because it's a requirement, what would you see? You'd see someone going into the grocery store and they're pulling a medical PPE out of a dirty pocket. Is ridiculous. And on top of which, it's well established now by all the world's health organizations, the World Health Organization itself, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in the United States, Public Health Agency of Canada. Everyone recognizes now that SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes COVID, that SARS-CoV-2 is an airborne aerosol. And so this is not going to stop an airborne aerosol. I've shared it many times, so I'm not going to link it below. You can look it up yourself. Open letter that the Ontario Nursing Association wrote to Premier Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, back on January 25th of last year, January 25th of 2021. And they were complaining that even with all their PPE that they were wearing, which are the flimsy little loose-fitting medical masks, their shields, gowns, and gloves, and training on how to wear and handle it properly, regardless of all that stuff, they were still testing positive. They were still getting infected at, quote, ever increasing rates, meaning it just kept going higher and higher and higher. And why? Because they were complaining to the Ford government that they wanted the province, given that it's widely recognized, everyone knows now that SARS-CoV-2 is airborne, that it's aerosols, that you need the proper tool for the situation. You need a proper mask to provide protection and control against an airborne aerosol. And so they were asking for, at a minimum, N95 respirators, minimum, because loose-fitting medical masks or porous, dirty cloth aren't going to stop an aerosol. Not going to control it outwardly, not going to provide protection from, protect the person wearing it from inhaling aerosols, because aerosols are microscopic. They can hang in the air depending on the humidity conditions in an indoor setting. They can hang in the air for hours. Yes, this will stop spittle. That's what they're designed for. CDC read up on it very early. These were originally designed so that when a doctor is in an operating room and is asking for a scalpel, retraction, whatever, an instrument, that spittle isn't falling into a gaping open wound. They weren't designed to stop aerosols because they can't. Mechanistically, they cannot. Aerosols are less than a micron in size. And the same with dirty cloth. If anyone, I've said this before, if anyone thinks this or a piece of cloth will work against an aerosol, I would invite you to go into a room with tear gas in it wearing this and see what happens. See how well they keep you from breathing the tear gas in. So, masking mandates. If you look at where we were back on January 18th, when masks were mandated, so just January 18th of this year of 2022, at that time, there were 4,183 COVID positive patients in Ontario hospitals. Now, without masking mandates, we're at, I believe the number is 1,090, less than 1,100. We're basically a quarter. Things are 4 times better than they would have to, the numbers would pretty much have to quadruple from where they are now to get as bad as they were when we had masking mandates. Now, why are things so much better now as compared to when masks were mandated? That's an open question. My speculation is that so many people don't handle these right, and the outside material becomes contaminated, and you're not preventing anything from being breathed in, and people constantly touch the outside. There's a big question about what is the viral load needed to become infected, and does it determine how badly you are infected? What's the virulence? And if you're sitting there and you've got contaminated outside of the material and you're constantly pulling it back up over your nose, which you see every day, even among people who are still insisting on wearing these things, and then all it takes is an inadvertent wipe of the mouth, touch of the nose, and infection. I mean, it's, we learned all this during flu outbreaks. It's why frequent hand washing, because someone touches their nose, their mouth, and then they open a door, and then you open a door. Now you have it on your hand, and then you inadvertently, without even thinking about it, touch your nose or mouth, and bingo presto. And this is nothing new. This is public health going back decades, my entire life. So I'm saying this, the thing that drives me crazy is all the medical professionals who just blanketly say, we need masking mandates back, and leaving it there. And the problem is, if you're realistic, Candy the Wonder Pup, if you're realistic about this and you realize human behavior, and we've all seen it. We've seen the way people handle and wear their masks in public. We know it's useless because we've seen it. If everyone could be mandated to wear an N95 respirator or better, and if everyone could be policed to wear and handle it properly, but that's, and we can also mandate peace on earth and eliminate crime, all crime. It's just unrealistic to expect everyone to wear N95s, N95 respirators. It's unrealistic to expect everyone to handle it properly and to wear it properly. Not why make things worse? I mean, just saying require everyone to wear a mask would be like saying to all non-swimmers, okay, everyone get a flotation device. We don't care what it is. Just any old piece of styrofoam or whatever that you hold on to, good enough. Everyone loves to use this. We should get rid of seatbelt laws then. Look, all seatbelts are regulated. It's not just a rubber band that you're strapping across your chest, because that's what these are. Using these is like using a rubber band as a seatbelt. And it's unrealistic. It's naivete on steroids to expect that everyone would go out. Not everyone can afford N95 respirators. They're $1 or $2 a piece, a pop, and you can't wear the same one constantly. And I don't blame anyone who doesn't have a mask on, because they're not required, thank God. And number two, most people don't can't get a hold of N95. Don't, it's a big expense and it's a lot to go through. So I've rambled on too long already. Hopefully this is my last video on masks, although if God forbid they should bring the mandates back in, forcing people, and this is what people will wear because I have to, or they'll wear neck gaiters, or they'll wear, any old dirty piece of cloth over their face. Just, well, I got to comply. And it's just stupidity. It's medical PPE. If you're not going to wear the right kind for the job that needs to be done, and handle it and wear it properly, then I don't blame people for not bothering. I'm not going out and getting myself a case full of N95 respirators. And the handling procedures are so heavily involved. I did a video a week or so ago, which, you should probably you should wear gloves, especially if you're going to be touching the outside material because you need protection and you have to take the gloves off properly, not touching the outside material. It's an incredibly laborious, meticulous process that not everyone is deathly afraid of SARS-CoV-2. I've had the bug. I got sick in February. Headache, sore throat, aches and pains, all the classic symptoms. Lasted 3 days and gone. It's happened to me before. Felt under the weather for 3 days. Whoopee. Anyway, if you did like this and you want to subscribe, you're more than welcome. Then you'll get notified whenever I do another one. Anyway, talk to you later.